Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. You know, movie review. Tonight's movie is Stone. I don't know if you've heard of it. Maybe you have, that's why you clicked on this, or maybe you want to find out more, because I'm very entertaining. Who knows? It is an older movie. I'm running out of stuff to do reviews on, so we're going back 2010. Can you believe that's 8 years ago? Probably back when Ed Norton was making a lot more movies. Right. So this one stars Ed Norton, Robert De Niro, and Mila Jovovich, if I said that right. If not, hopefully I said it quick enough that it sounds right. I'm going to read you the synopsis. I don't know why I've never heard of this before, but a convicted arsonist looks to manipulate a parole officer into a plan to secure his parole by placing his beautiful wife in a lawman's path. Alright, that's all I know about it. It has Ed Norton in it. It has Robert De Niro in it. It's enough for me to watch. 5.4 on IMDb. I was unable to find it on Flickster for Rotten Tomatoes. So, I don't know. Low expectations. Older movie. 8 years ago. So, we'll see what it's like. I'll get into it a little bit. And I think it's the first time I'm ever watching it. Let's hope. I don't know. Maybe I've watched it before and just never rated it. But never did a review on it, so I will tonight. Alright, stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody. Time for a quick check-in here. We're at the 55-minute and 45-second mark of Stone, starring Edward Norton, Robert De Niro, and Mila Jovovich. I try to do it quickly again. Anyway, Robert De Niro is a parole officer, or he's on a parole board, I think. So he and Edward Norton is the arsonist who was sent to prison for 10 to 15 years. He's up for parole, so he's meeting with Robert De Niro, and they're starting these conversations. And it's interesting because you see Edward Norton. You know, I often talk about actors and what I think makes a really good actor, and it's like their range. And I think Edward Norton has a lot of that range. If you've seen Primal Fear, I think that's probably the movie that really brought him out as a great actor. I thought that was a phenomenal movie. You know, and you see where he is there, and then you see American History X, some of his background there. There's a lot of good movies with Edward Norton. The 25th Hour is another one. Sorry, I'm going to continue to rattle them off. But Edward Norton and Robert De Niro appeared in The Score together as well. So I think he's a good actor. This one, you know, he's playing like a thug. So he's got the Ebonics kind of thing going on. And, you know, it's tough to, I don't know. I'm not enjoying it that one. It doesn't seem as natural, I think, for me in this role. But that's just me. But anyway, he's up for parole. He's served 8 years out of his 10 to 15 stretch. And he's talking to Robert De Niro. Meanwhile, he's married to Mila. And he's trying to get her to meet with Robert De Niro to try and grease the wheels a little bit, if you will. The beginning of the movie is kind of strange. So let me set it up for you. In the beginning, it's Robert De Niro as a young man with his wife, and she says she's going to leave him. He runs upstairs and grabs her daughter, threatens to throw her out the window if she's going to leave her, and she says, "No, I won't leave you." Well, you know, jump to the future, they're still together, and his daughter's still alive. So that was a little glimpse in the beginning. It's going to have some symbolism, or it's going to come back around here, I believe, in the end of the film at some point. But, you know, so far so good. The other piece of it is Edward Norton is now trying to learn a new religion. I didn't catch the name of it, but essentially God comes to you through sound. So he hums some word for a little bit of time, and then he listens, and God's supposed to come to him that way. So he's been doing that as well, working with his wife to try and get his wife to meet with Robert De Niro to, you know, convince him or seduce him in a way so that he'll allow him parole and get out. So that's pretty much the synopsis of the film. Like, we're a little over halfway there, so I'll get back into it a little bit more. If anything pops up, I'll check in. If not, I'll see you at the credits. See you soon. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Stone. Real quick, I don't think I've explained to you why the movie's called Stone. So Edward Norton's character, his nickname is Stone. So that's why it's called Stone. And I tell you what, I was enjoying the movie. Nothing earth-shattering here. You understand the plot. Basically, Edward Norton's trying to get out of prison, and Robert De Niro is his parole officer, I guess. I think that's what he is, but he's the one who basically says whether he'll present his findings to the board, and the board ultimately decides, but they really hinge on what he says through his interactions with Edward Norton. So he has a lot of power. But Edward Norton gets his wife, who's played by Milla, to seduce him. So that's what her goal is to seduce him, and hopefully, he'll put in a good word for Edward Norton to get out of prison. There's a flaw in that. And I was thinking about this. I was going to check in before the ending of the film, but the flaw is obviously if, she seduces him. He's a little bit older, and if he does vote for, or parlay for Edward Norton to get out of prison, it's her husband. So isn't he essentially, giving up his mistress in a sense? So if he really wants that to continue, he wouldn't want to let Edward Norton out of prison because they're going to get back together. So there was a flaw in the seduction portion of all of this, because what they're trying to do. And so anyway, so that's the whole premise of the movie, and I don't want to spoil it for you in case you do want to watch it. I do think that they blew the ending. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this, and I bet you if you got the DVD version of this, if they had it, I'll bet there's one or two different endings that they wrote, because you can imagine different ways that this could end. If he gets out of prison, what he could do. If he doesn't get out of prison, what happens? All this kind of stuff. And they just, I don't know. It seems like they ran out of film, and they just said, let's end it right now. And they didn't, I don't know. There was even a part where you thought it was going to be, okay, this is going somewhere, and no, it doesn't. And it's hard for me to explain to you, what happens without spoiling. And I hate to spoil movies for anybody, even though this is from 2010, and, but if you want, maybe I'll do some spoilers at the end, and I'll pause for you to do that. But real quick, so Edward Norton, as I said, great actor, I think. I think his role in this was a little bit more over the top. I don't think he did it. He tried as hard to be this thug, but I don't think it was as believable. You could see he was trying too hard. And as a matter of fact, from the first interaction, he's very talking in like ebonics and gangster and stuff like that, and it trails off throughout the movie. He comes, and before he even starts to convert, and he starts following into this hum thing where he's starting to believe in God more. Even before that, it was like the act was wearing off and he was becoming more normal. And I don't know if that was part of the storyline, which I don't think it was at this point, or him just failing to follow his original acting line or whatever it was. Original character starts to die down. And then when he starts following God and stuff like that, you can understand how that would do that. But I think they did that a little bit earlier. But even when he was doing it, it was too much for me. It felt too forced. Robert De Niro is Robert De Niro, so the acting was okay, not great. I expect more out of the two of them. And the story, all of the storyline, I liked it. I thought it had something there that we can, you could really do something at the end and maybe shock some people, make it different than every other movie. Because you and I could sit here and think about different ways this movie could end, just based on what I told you. And it doesn't go that way, probably, that we were thinking. It doesn't really go anyway. So I'm going to give it a 6 on this one. A little disappointed. It wasn't very high rated, so I didn't have high expectations, but when you start watching a movie and you start to like it, you're thinking, this could be pretty good, and it wasn't. So, disappointed in this one. If you check it out, let me know. But before I let you go, I am going to give some spoilers. So I will, those of you who don't want to hear the spoilers, please stop watching now and hit like and subscribe and everything like that, and thanks for coming. I'll give 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, spoiler alert. It's not that big of a deal, but so they do seduce him. He does submit his thing for Edward Norton to get out of prison, so you can understand, wow, how is this supposed to work? Like, Robert De Niro's like using this other girl as a mistress in a sense, and she's saying she loves Robert De Niro. Sounds like it's going to be bad, and Edward Norton's going to get out of prison and everything like that. And so Edward Norton does get out of prison, and it kind of shows Robert De Niro more as a bad guy. So his wife leaves him, and there's a whole little thing about that, but she leaves him, and then pretty much the movie ends. So she leaves Robert De Niro, Edward Norton is out seen walking alone, and Mila's at a bar, and Robert De Niro goes into his office to clean up his stuff. That's one other thing. He's retiring throughout all of this, but that's very minuscule in comparison to the rest of this. But that's how it ends. So, I don't know. I think they could have done a better job at the ending, and, you know, that really left me like, ugh. I get it. I guess it's, you know, it's a conclusion. It's not like it's unresolved like other movies. But it's just not, you know, you build it all up and then nothing. And I never got the point about throwing the kid out the window either, with the bee. So, if you stuck around, listen to the spoiler alert, and you watch this movie, and you get the ending, and you understand the connection. I get the connection. He's a bad guy. Robert De Niro ends up being a bad guy because he was going to throw a kid out the window. Then he starts cheating on his wife. But if that's the only connection, then this film was worse than I thought it was. So if you do watch it, please comment. Let me know if you caught a connection. What did I miss? I'd love to hear it. But thanks for tuning in. I don't want to go on any longer. It's longer than it already should have been, but I appreciate you staying with me this long. So if you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up so I know you stuck around. Alright, thanks. Kimmel's Irish Pub.